Welcome to Wales for day 2 of the World Rally Championship. Brutal conditions were awaiting here in the Welsh countryside as the crews prepared for battle one last time in 2010. Jari-Matti Latvala set the early pace in a bid to post one last win for the Ford Focus, but his day was undone as he whacked a bank, knocking the tyre off the rim. He lost a minute and dropped to 6th. That left Loeb a clear path to the top, but the Frenchman was lucky not to suffer the same fate as Latvala as he too slammed his car into a bank. He survived the scare to end the day with a narrow lead. But just 1.8 seconds behind him is Petter Solberg, who's desperate to win this rally. But the Norwegian had a tricky opening day with a broken starter motor and an intermittent gear selection problem. Both items have been replaced, so expect a Petter charge today. Sébastien Ogier is looking to end the season second in the championship. Third here in Wales will do it, and after a cautious start and Latvala's bad luck, he holds that position, and he's only 1.8 behind Petter, so a final flourish is on the cards from this talented young Frenchman. Mikko Hirvonen now heads Ford's challenge, but he was surprisingly slow on the opening day and was at a loss to explain why. He instead finds himself in a battle with Dani Sordo, the pair some 40 seconds off the leading pack. Kimi Räikkönen is making his Welsh debut, and he really struggled with the changing grip levels in the rain. He starts the second day in 10th overall, trying to hunt down Mads Osberg. This is how things look going into day 2. Just 3.6 seconds separate the top 3 as the drivers bid to win the last rally of the season. Hirvonen is 4th, 6.7 ahead of Sordo. Expect a charge from Latvala. He starts 6th, 18 seconds behind Sordo. The rally is based in the Welsh capital Cardiff, but as with day 1, the stages are 140 kilometres to the north of the city. There will also be another remote service near the stages in Builth Wells. Before this rally started, Phil Mills was awarded the Michael Park Trophy for co-drivers after competing at the highest level for 11 years that included winning the World Championship with Petter back in 2003. Phil retired from the sport earlier this year, and as a close friend of the late Michael Park, it was fitting that Phil received it at his home event here in Wales. But the racing goes on, and there are 9 stages to come on day 2, starting with Radnor, which returns after an 11-year absence. This is a lightning fast test with some really muddy and slippery sections. Then the crews head into the infamous military area of Epint. Stage 10 Cricken is half tarmac and half gravel. It's then followed by Halfway, which is another incredibly fast and tricky stage. In all, there are 153 competitive kilometres to negotiate. Finally, a respite in the miserable weather for the crews, with Saturday morning dawning to cool but sunny conditions. First into the stages is rally leader Sébastien Loeb. And after an absence of more than a decade, we are back in the Radnor stage, a spectacular stretch of road that has witnessed some epic battles over the years. It's a new challenge for Loeb, who's off into this 15-kilometre test, and immediately you get a sense just how quick this stage is. It's littered with long tightening corners such as this, and still a very muddy surface too. Second on the road, and still very much in the hunt for his first win in 5 years, is Petter Solberg. 4 times a winner on Great Britain's mud, and unlike Loeb, Petter has taken on Radnor's frighteningly quick roads before. At such high speed, Solberg completely focused on the pace notes from Chris Patterson. With Latvala dropping back yesterday, it's this man, Sébastien Ogier, who's still on course to hold on to second place in the Drivers' Championship. A just reward for what's been a stunning season for the 26-year-old Citroën driver. He starts the day just 1.8 seconds behind Solberg.
250 mètres derrière. Sortie bois. Gauche 150 Milon qui ouvre.
Further back in the battle for 4th place, Mikko Hirvonen is currently lying less than 7 seconds ahead of Dani Sordo. There are a few technical sections like this in Radnor to break up the rhythm a bit. For a former winner of this prestigious event, Mikko would have hoped for much more at the start of the weekend though. Saudo's already had one big scare after that high-speed spin on day one, but with no drive secured for 2011, Danny will want to finish the year with a strong result. Changing the pace note there, he's already hard at work as he chases down Hirvonen. Leader for much of day one until a final stage puncher, Jari-Matti Latvala will begin his fight back from 6th place and over a minute behind the top spot. Finn certainly had the pace to win this event. It will be interesting to see if he has the character to respond to his setback and claw his way back into the podium places. Still a long way to go for Latvala, but back at the sharp end, we're about to see what Petter Solberg can do about the gap to rally leader Loeb. You can see Petter's target. If he matches that time, he will move into the top spot. And this is going to be really close.
Okay. Finished.
Yes, a stunning drive from Solberg. He is the new leader by a margin of just 0.3 of a second.
Bloody hell, guys, that's slippy, huh? Love's had the same, yeah? I hope so. Aye, aye, aye. Well, okay, that's a good start. That's the main thing.
Sébastien Ogier is not far behind in the stage, and he too could beat Loeb. He was 1/10 up on his teammate coming into the last sector.
150 mètres derrière. Sortie bois. Gauche 150 millions. Plus millions de corps de 70 mètres. Gauche 140 à fond millions de corps de 70 mètres.
Oh no! He's off the road! A terrifying moment for Sébastien and Julien Ingrassia. I think that's game over for the French crew.
I just came too fast in the corner and it was slippery and I didn't manage to let the car on the road, and that's it. I'm stupid. I just had to drive and finish the rally, and that was my target today, but I don't know. I came too fast on this corner. And it's just absolutely my fault.
Well, what a massive impact that could have in the outcome of the fight for second in the championship. Moving on to Monument Hill, Loeb is attacking hard to respond to Solberg's challenge. Oh, but a rare mistake from the Frenchman there. Completely misjudged that tight right-hander. He stalled briefly too. Sébastien losing around 7 seconds there. And using Virtual Spectator, we can try and work out what went wrong for Loeb. Comparing his approach into the corner with Petter, Loeb breaks a good 3 to 4 car lengths later. He's 13 kilometers an hour quicker into the apex, and that was just way too quick to keep the car on the road. After the first 2 stages of day one then, Solberg is our new leader. He's 3.2 seconds ahead of Loeb, with Hirvonen now third following Ogier's exit. Saudo is 5.5 seconds behind Mikko in fourth. Former rally leader Latvala is up to 5th. So, Petter Solberg leads, but there is plenty more action to come as the crews struggle to get to grips with the classic epic stages. Welcome back to Wales, where we've been watching a thrilling fight for the lead between Sébastien Loeb and Petter Solberg, the Norwegian currently ahead by just 3.2 seconds. We have another new challenge now, with Loeb already attacking an 11-kilometre tarmac section through the daunting Epins military ranges. Sébastien is using every inch of the road and taking some massive cuts here. There could be a tactic behind his somewhat risky lines though. As first car on the road, Loeb will be pulling a lot of mud and dirt onto the road behind him. So, with Loeb leaving a trail of mud in his wake, the following cars, led by Petter Solberg, are going to face some really slippery corners through this asphalt challenge. The cars are set up for gravel as well, remember, so this is going to be a really tough few kilometres.
And 6 right minus tightens.
Solberg fighting the wheel there. He drops 8.5 seconds to Loeb and slips back to second. We've already seen that drivers of the calibre of 7-time world champion Sébastien Loeb can be caught out by these daunting muddy roads. His fastest time in 10 has put him back in the lead, but can he pull away from Solberg? Whoa, not like that, he can't. Another error from the Citroën Total driver. He's managed to keep the car on the road and calmly flicks the C4 into a full 360. Nicely recovered by the world champion there.
Lost a lot of time in the middle of the stage. What happened in there?
Again, a mistake, braking a bit too late on the mud, and instead of taking a corner in third gear, I had a complete 360 in first gear and started again, so I lost a few seconds. That's it, I tried maybe too hard again.
Mikko Hirvonen hasn't been able to match the pace of the front runners so far in Wales. His steady error-free drive has seen him make it into the podium places after Latvala and Ogier slipped up though.
Ja tosi pitkä vasen loiva sisältä 5. Nyppy vasen laita
There is a scare here for Mikko too in the halfway stage. Some sheep running across the road ahead of him there. Doesn't seem to have slowed him down too much. He clears the stage with the 4th fastest time. It could be an opportunity though for Dani Sordo to make some inroads into Mikko's advantage. Whoa, but he's well off the road too. The Forest and Moorland of halfway are really proving a tough prospect this season. Spaniard doing a quick turnaround in the field there. He lost several seconds though, getting the car back on the road. Half the top 6 seem to have lost some time in stage 11, which is good news for former leader Jari-Matti Latvala as he fights his way back up the leaderboard following his day 1 puncture. The BP4 driver smashes Sordo's time and replaces the Spaniard in 4th. Well, that's been a dramatic morning loop. Loeb is back in the lead, but he's only 2.5 seconds ahead of Petter. Hirvonen remains in 3rd place, but now has his teammate Latvala just 11.2 seconds behind in 4th, with Sordo dropping back to 5th. We're back in Bilf Wells for a remote service again next, and a chance to reflect on that challenging start to day 2.
It's been great, and I had like a spin on the last stage now, and I lost a little bit of time there. But even okay, I won the stage because he also had the spin. So, but on the tarmac stage, he took a lot of time. And if you see the cuts he have done, and he putting down the mud on the road, it's exactly like we expected. So,
do you think that was a deliberate tactic by him to put some mud on the road, make it more difficult for you?
Of course, the guy is not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I don't think if I was first on the road, I would have done the cuts he have done. But obviously, he have a little bit more experience than me to be first on the road, so he knows how to destroy for the guys in the back, definitely.
Petter suggested that perhaps the line you were taking on the tarmac section, you were deliberately dragging mud onto the stage. What's your response to that?
I think for sure, I think some corner where it was some mud on the tarmac, but not so much because it's some big stone nearly everywhere, so you couldn't cut so much. But for sure, it was better to be first on the road on the tarmac section.
But it wasn't a deliberate tactic by you to make it harder for him.
I just tried to take my lines and to go as fast as possible and don't think to the other.
There is no chances for me to even to get that 2nd place in World Rally Championship. But it's of course it's depending on how Sebastian Loeb and Petter Solberg will do. But I have no bigger chance.
The crews are soon on the road section, returning to the spectacular Radnor stage, and let's rejoin leader Sebastian Loeb, who's making his final preparations on the start line. Launch control engaged. The C4 powers into this 15-kilometre test. Starting only 2.5 seconds ahead of 4-time Rally GB winner Petter Solberg, the supremely talented Loeb will have to be at his very best to hold off the fired-up Norwegian. And another chance to see these incredibly quick forest roads of Radnor, which has certainly been a welcome addition to the route this year.
Gauche on prend plus long-tard, vraiment pas corde. Tu veux que je le mette? C'est bon, ça fait 100 mètres. Droite 130 moins Milan.
You can see the muddy road getting really churned up in places too.
30.
It's fair to say this win would mean a lot more to Solberg than it would to Loeb, but it remains to be seen if Petter can translate that passion onto his timesheets.
Into one right minus double tightness.
Solberg is still at his spectacular best, but try as he might, he can't quite match Sebastian in the afternoon's first pair of stages. The margins are still incredibly close, but Petter slips another second and a half away from Loeb.
Slight right, slow crest into 6 left.
Petter looking really committed over the jump too. The leading pair in a league of their own at the moment, Jari-Matti Latvala is one of the best of the rest as he continues his bid to fight his way back into the podium places. Crucially, as it stands, if Latvala makes it to third, he'll snatch second place in the championship from Ogier. Mini duels going on up and down the leaderboard this afternoon. Mads Osberg is building up a challenge on the 7th place of Matthew Wilson in his privately entered Subaru Impreza. He makes up over 12 seconds in the second pass through Radner.
40.
But the Stobart Ford man has fought back immediately in the 10-kilometre stage 13. Wilson, with the hopes of the home nation on his shoulders, beats Osberg by just under 4 seconds to keep the Norwegian at arm's length for now.
140. Care crest 30 left 6 minus.
Ahead of this fight for 7th, meanwhile, Matt's teammate Henning Solberg is in a rather lonely 6th position. Remarkably, with his brother Petter fighting at the front, Osberg just behind him, and Andreas Mikkelsen in 10th. There are currently 4 Norwegians in the top 10. There is still a Frenchman at the front though. Loeb has extended his lead over Petter slightly to 4 seconds, while Hirvonen is beginning to come under pressure from his teammate Latvala. Danny Sordo is still 5th. Loeb leads Petter Solberg by the narrowest of margins, but there are still 3 more stages to go, and they are anything but easy. Welcome back to Wales. We're witnessing a thrilling fight for top honours in the WRC, but there's also a championship to be decided this weekend. Time now for an update on the Super 2000 category.
Day 2 in Wales for the SWRC and all to play for. A 32.8 second lead was Andreas Mikkelsen's advantage going into the second day for the Super 2000 World Rally Championship. The 21-year-old Norwegian carried that confidence into day 2 and after 153 kilometres remained at the top of the leaderboard. The SWRC Championship contender Jari Ketema needs the win here to claim the championship as long as Chevy Pons finishes third. With a tough mountain to climb, the Finn attacked the 9 stages in the day, trading stage wins with Mikkelsen, but was only able to reduce Andreas' lead to 23 seconds by the end of play. Evan Brynildsen was forced to super rally after the second stage of the day. He beached his Skoda and there was no way of getting back on track. After initially running third, Evan is now last of the SWRC competitors. All this puts Chevy Pons in the pound seat. Promoted to third behind Ketema, he currently lies in a championship winning place. Attacking the day's stages with a performance like this, Chevy will be a worthy champion. Set to star in the WRC Academy next year, Craig Breen was solidly placed in 4th in his Fiesta Super 2000. The other championship contender, Patrick Sandell, will need a miracle to change his power steering affected rally. The Swede managed to climb to 5th out of 7 with just 1 day and 4 stages left to go. His championship chances look to be all but over. Michel Kosciuszko was the last of the SWRC runners to finish. He'll hope to regain his pace on the final day after what's been a confidence-sapping 2010. Let's take a look at the leaderboard then. Mikkelsen ahead of Ketema by 25 seconds. Pons is the champion as things stand. 4 stages are all that remain in 2010. Who will take the SWRC crown? It's anyone's guess.
Quick update on the runners further back now. Kimi Räikkönen has damaged a front damper spring in the morning loop, and because he wasn't carrying a spare in the car, he's forced to make do with what he's got in the afternoon. He's still nursing the car through and remains in 9th at the moment. Ken Block had been on course for another point-scoring finish, but the Monster World Rally Team driver has also hit problems.
Let's see, tightens 4+.
Fuck, I think we have a drive shaft broken.
Unfortunately, it is a broken drive shaft and he's forced to call it a day in the road section after stage 12. Well, several drivers have hit problems. Abu Dhabi Tourism Authority-backed Khalid Al-Qasimi and his British co-driver Michael Orr have begun to improve on the second day. They're up to 12th after the second pass through Monument Hill.
And 100. Short left 5, 50.
Let's rejoin our leaders now in that thrilling fight for the final win of the year between Sebastian Loeb and privateer Petter Solberg.
And then go back tonight then.
The Norwegian had been second best to the leader for the previous test, and he's now into the half-tarmac four-ways Cricken in the Eppent military ranges, where Petter was soundly beaten by Loeb in the first pass.
6 right minus half long, tightens, up keep in over crest, opens over crest, 150. Slight left to keep middle over crest, 50. 6 right half long, keep in the slope, line, turn 4 left minus height, 1 minus. Double tightens.
Oh, and he's caught himself under braking. It shows how close to the limit these drivers are this afternoon. Not what Solberg needed as he hunts down the leader.
Half long, opens, 250.
It could have been a lot worse though. He did lose a few seconds.
1 minus.
Well, let's take another look at that. He just seemed to brake a bit too late. He couldn't scrub off the speed, and on that slippery surface, that is going to be the end result.
Into 6 right minus half long, tightens.
Petter will be a frustrated man at the finish line.
I lost maybe 7 to 10 seconds on the stage before. I had the spin, I have to reverse and everything, you know. And oh well, what can I say? It's actually a fantastic day. I'm very pleased, and I'm very close to Loeb, so he shouldn't be too safe tomorrow because, okay, obviously I have nothing to think about. He can just drive and go flat out. He has nothing to lose, but you have to remember I'm also having a fight to win the rally, but also to get second or third in the World Championship. So you have to remember that I have much more to lose than him, but I'm still trying.
Petter certainly is trying. Loeb was actually only 2.7 seconds quicker in Cricken despite that spin, but that has now been 3 stages in succession. The world champion has beaten the man in second. Into the final run through halfway now.
100 mètres.
Oh, and that's another mistake from Loeb. He is finally beaten by Petter in there, over 2 seconds slower. Despite the victory is far from over. Plenty to be decided behind the leading pair too. It looks like we could have a fight between Ford's Finns for the final podium place on the last day. Hirvonen will be watching the split times of his teammate Latvala with increasing concern. He's been beaten on every stage in the afternoon so far, but is finally spurred into action in halfway. He claims 2.5 seconds back from Jari Matti.
Lyhyt vasen hidas ylitys menee kivi sisällä. Jatkuu vasen eri.
Although Mikko certainly not being helped with his light pod coming loose in the gloom of stage 15. Well, Hirvonen's favourable time in this final forest stage of the day is due in part to a slow getaway from Latvala after a problem with his launch control here. The 25-year-old will start the last stage just under 10 seconds away from a podium position that could help him clinch the runner-up spot in the Drivers' Championship. After an end-of-day blast around the Cardiff-based Super Special, there is just 4.8 seconds between first and second place. The fight for the last win in the current WRC cars is going down to the wire, while Ford's Finns will fight it out for third. Back at the service park in Cardiff, all the talk is about that thrilling fight for the rally win.
It's a very exciting rally. We are fighting like hell with Petter. It's very close in every stages. I've done 2 mistakes, he has done 1, and so we took him only 3 seconds on the day. That's quite nothing, and tomorrow will be hot again.
The win for him tomorrow will be his first win since 2005. He's really going to push for it. How hard are you prepared to fight tomorrow?
I'm prepared to fight. I didn't fight today for nothing, so I will try to continue, but it's not an easy game.
We have to push, you know. I know it's looking very good for a championship, and I know that Mikko will let Jari go past, so, you know. So second or third in the World Championship is not so important, you know. If it's third, it's like fantastic and big anyway, but I want the victory.
Day 3 of Rally GB is set to be a cracker. Loeb and Solberg are poised to fight it out for the last win of 2010. Second place in the championship is still to be decided, and it's the last chance to watch the current 2-litre WRC cars in action. Follow the times live on WRC.com, and we'll be back again tomorrow for the grand finale. Don't you dare miss it.